Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Allison.
Hi, Alison. How are you? I'm Jason.
I'm good. Nice to meet you. So this is not your first rodeo playing Batman,
Not my first rodeo, no, but it is my first San Diego Comic-Con with a standalone Batman film, and that's a trip. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. Yeah.
So how do you keep this character playing Batman fresh for you, and in turn for the fans?
Oh, it's easy because the scripts are so good, and then, as soon as you think you've played like third or fourth fiddle in a Justice League movie or a Superman movie, they give you Batman Hush, and it just doesn't get much better than that. Quite honestly, I mean, this is like the jewel in the crown from this particular period of Batman issues and graphic novels. I mean, Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb working together, and wow, it's a modern classic, an iconic.
It's like the perfect storm.
It is, and so story-wise, it's like to have all the classic Batman villains coming along, which has always been like a dream of mine, right? And all the classic Batman heroes, and for them to come together, sort of over this. At the same time as this childhood friend, where we learn a little bit more about Batman's backstory. Excuse me, right?
Yes.
And he falls in love with Selena Kyle.
Yes.
Right?
We need to talk about
I mean, there's a lot going
on
on here, and I've always prided myself on the fact that I think this Batman is defined by the fact that he's a father, but also that he's emotional. He has feelings, and yes, he tries to deny them by doing his work, but I think this particular Batman comes alive when he's feeling something, and we get to see lots of that in Hush. It's not something you really associate with Batman.
No, not at all.
In fact, I think that's why we watch him, to see, can we see the little cracks? Can we see the humanity? And I think you get more than your money's worth in this. Yeah.
So it's going to premiere tonight for fans here at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
How excited are you? How nervous are you?
I'm actually excited, which is a new thing for me, because I used to get nervous.
Really?
Yeah, but I feel like this, when I was recording the movie, I just thought, I kept picturing this moment, of it like premiering to over 4,000 people. And I just love sitting there and listening to them react,
Yes.
Like cheering, laughing. It's an incredible rush. I highly recommend it. And then the panel afterwards, I think, will just be fun. So I'm actually not that nervous, which probably means I'll completely mess up, but that's okay.
No. You won't, I promise. I got to ask you one more question. Do
Yeah.
you break this shirt out for all of your Batman interviews?
No, I've got like 8 shirts.
Do you really?
Yeah. And
Do people gift them to you? Like, oh, look, let's give him another Batman
some of them
shirt.
do, and then some of them, if I see one I haven't seen, I'll just grab it. Like, I'll just buy it, I was actually wearing a sweatshirt earlier, but I was afraid of starting to sweat, it being a sweatshirt.
Yes.
And but it was like my Batman's icon, the sort of New 52 bat symbol. And I took it off, and then it kind of just all balled here. There's like gray.
You can't see it. It's not in 4K.
Yeah,
you can't
well,
see it.
it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
let me
it's
tell
all
you.
right.
I know.
All right, well, we're excited to see it. Thanks
Nice
for talking
to you.
with me.
Yeah, cheers.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right, so what's the best part about playing Nightwing in this series?
Oh my gosh. The best part is that they keep asking me to come back.
It's nice being an actor with a job, right?
I mean, yeah, and this is such a fun job. I mean, initially when they offered me the role, I had no idea that it would, be such a long life for me. So the nicest thing probably is just stepping back into him each time, but with each story having, like a different tone. Yeah. Especially this one was very gritty and dark, and yeah, I love that.
Well, what do you think the fans are going to be most surprised about in this particular film?
Without spoiling,
It's hard to do, right?
it is hard to do. I think, just in general, I think it's so epic, and there's so many villains, like more than I even realized existed. So I think it just doesn't. It really, at the risk of sounding like a cliche, you're really like on the edge of your seat, and just when you think it can't get worse, someone else shows up, and
So yeah. Surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's something to look forward to. We're excited.
Yeah.
Thank you for talking with us. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Hi, Jeff. So The Riddler in this one is particularly evil. I know you can't give too much away, but tell me, how did you get into that frame of mind?
I was looking at the source material that this movie is based on, of course. I was also looking at the Riddlers that I grew up with, more specifically from the animated series that John Glover did an amazing job with. I wanted to pay respect to that, but at the same time take it to another level, and this movie allows you to take the Riddler to another level. So I was very excited, and then it was about tapping into how he fits into the rogues gallery. You know, he's not a physical villain, he's a cerebral villain, and where does that come from? And I think it's mostly about feeling like Batman doesn't see him, you know, and this whole like world of like notice me and notice how my value. He doesn't see him, and that's what makes him insane. So yeah.
That's excellent. I love that mental image of that. As we said, many people have played the Riddler. So how do you make that your own, especially in animation?
I think it's funny. It's like with any character I play, you do all this research, you absorb all this information, and then you sort of forget about it and just play what the character's intentions are and what the character's history is, and then you hope to God that it comes out well. You know, you just have to trust yourself and hope that, you know, it's the reason why I'm an actor. I've been like fairly successful at performing. So if I could just take in all the information and then show up, you know, prepared, then maybe it'll turn out all right.
What is it, like 99% preparation, 1% luck?
That's exactly right. It's all preparation, and then they're like, go, and then you better have done the preparing. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you have, and I can't wait to see it. Thank you. So you're playing Commissioner Gordon? Yeah.
Wow, there was a lot in that, Gordon.
Yeah.
Gordon.
Well, he's an interesting character, I think.
You do? A lot of people, yeah. A lot of people think of him as just this stoic guy who doesn't do a whole lot, but I think the opposite. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think he's a huge-hearted man who's a good father, and that's saying a lot these days.
Yeah,
I wish there were more of us. I consider myself one.
Yeah.
So, and actually, to cut to it, I think that for me, that's what informs me about how to play the guy. I think he's a huge-hearted guy that's just been every single day slapped with all these villains and chaos in this city, and being so frustrated with just trying to protect the people that he loves so much, give him a good life, and it's failing. And so then he's got this guy who's the Batman, who is, he wants to love him and kill him at the same time.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Totally.
So he's a lot more complex than we know, Commissioner
Well,
Gordon.
he is.
Yeah.
He is. He's got a lot to deal with. He's got to deal with this guy, and he needs him at the same time.
So what's it like being in Warner Brothers animated feature?
It's amazing. First of all, the writing is incredible. So it's going from the graphic novel to this incredible movie, and that takes talent, and it has come out incredibly well. And then you have the art. Phil Barrasa's art is top-notch, so you have everybody at the top of their game, and then you get to play in that space with all these incredibly talented people, so there's no better gift.
And do they give you room to really improvise a little bit, or is it really cut and dry?
Well, there's a scene in this movie that I won't spoil for everybody that they were like, I think the Joker should be saying things here and filling things in here. So I made up a whole bunch of one-liners on the spot and they kept a bunch of them and put them in the film. So it's pretty cool.
Well, we can't wait. I'm going to be looking out for those.
Yeah,
Thank you.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. All right, so you just said to me you just draw the characters, but isn't that the most important part?
It's the most fun part. I don't know if it's the most important, but yeah, it's pretty important. It's up there. There's some writers here and some directors, so they might argue if it's, yeah. But yeah, it's fun.
So how do you go about drawing these characters and making them unique, but still keeping them part of that WB animation, family?
Well, I mean, we've been at it for a while now. There's over 10 movies in this continuity that, James Tucker has been overseeing for the last 7 years or whatever. So we're building on the foundation of something that we're very familiar with. That said, this movie in particular was a blast because in some ways it's our first quintessentially Batman movie, you know, because a lot of the other ones were very Damian focused. This one is a classic Batman story with all of his iconic villains. And Jim Lee's art, he did a very classic take on those characters. So it was pretty fun, and I wouldn't say it's easy, but on the easy side, because all that stuff is very easy on the eyes, and it reads really quickly. So what you want with character design is a really quick read, and thankfully the source material provides that, so we just had to adapt it into the animation medium.
So from an animation perspective, what are you most excited for the fans to see when they see it tonight at the premiere?
I think they should just, I'm excited for them to see a classic Batman story with all the sort of quintessential looks of their favorite villains and heroes. I mean, for me, it was a lot of fun to get Batman back in a classic costume, the blue and gray with the trunks. So, we're back, we bringing that back. A lot of people really love that look. I like it a lot myself. So that'll be a lot of fun.
All right, well, we can't wait. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
Thanks. All right, so you directed this motley crew. Tell me how you wrangled them all together.
Wrangling them is the easy part, but trying to tell an animated story with this many characters and doing it on time and under budget, that becomes the difficult part. But when you're sitting in a room with a bunch of really talented actors and performers, that's the easy fun part.
They make it easier for you.
Yeah, they make it easier for you, and that's when you're blessed. You can always tell right away when you're working with a pro. They get in, they sit down, they've done their homework, they know all their lines. Yeah, you can always tell. And this group, we've worked together for a while, a lot of us. A lot of them are recurring characters in our universe, so yeah, it's a blast. It's a lot of fun working with these people.
Now you guys are premiering this tonight for the fans. Are you nervous?
A little. It's always a little nerve-wracking when you don't know how it's going to be received. Now, it's a huge graphic novel. It's one of the best, I think. And I like it, The studio likes it. So there is a part that's a little nerve-wracking, but at the same time, I'm more excited. I'm more excited to see what fans think.
I think you should be. I think the fans are really going to love it. Thanks for talking with
Absolutely.
us. We
No, thank
appreciate
you.
it.